What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
In my opinion, that sucked.
We failed to make our coaching points and our points more compelling than their fat little girlfriend.
Oh my God, did he really just say that?
The Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Jason Bishop. Got a ton to get into today. But first, I'm a big Walking Dead fan. So, earlier in the season, my favorite character, Beth, gets the axe on the show. The reason Beth was my favorite character is I feel like as a guy, as far as eye candy goes for the show, there really wasn't that much eye candy except for Beth. Now, Emily Kinney, the girl that plays Beth on the show, obviously if you watch the show, Beth is portrayed, or Beth's character is a teenage girl, or Emily Kinney, the girl that actually plays Beth, is like 30 years old playing that character, does a really good job. Probably the best looking character on the show. They cut her off of the show, they kill her, very dramatic scene. So as a guy, as far as eye candy goes, I just don't, I mean, there's not really too much left after Beth. There's the sex appeal for the show as a guy, not much left. So what I'm calling for is if you're gonna axe off Beth, I think we got to axe off Daryl. We got to be fair, right? If you're gonna take away the eye candy for the guys, obviously Daryl is a very popular character with the ladies. I think you'd be fair about it. Kill him off too. I think it's what you got to do. Will it happen? No. Should it? Yep. It's just not fair. I was really upset about that. We'll jump in with the Atlanta Falcons. Harry Douglas, key part of the team, very popular guy, released by the team. Falcons have parted ways with him, releasing him as well as Steven Jackson. Remember, the Falcons brought in Steven Jackson a couple years ago to be the solution at the running back position after they released Turner. Hadn't really worked out. Steven Jackson's had trouble staying on the field. Hasn't been productive when he was on the field, so the Falcons said, we bid you adieu, man. Good luck. He'll land somewhere. Someone will give him a shot. No question. He just won't be in Atlanta. Jonathan Massaquoi, also a defensive end for the Falcons, also released. All this week. So the Falcons starting to put together some plans on where they want to go, who are in those plans. Justin Blaylock released as well. He was a guard for the Falcons. Falcons starting to move in the right direction, or starting to move in a direction. We'll see if it's the right direction. I'm really surprised by the Harry Douglas thing. I saw Steven Jackson coming. He doesn't make a lot. He hasn't made that much of an impact. He makes a lot of money. But Harry Douglas, I don't know. I feel like he's been productive. I feel that way. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network, brought to you by the SouthernSportsEdition.com, your Southern sports teams at the SouthernSportsEdition.com, our stomping grounds. Ton going on. I'm serious, yeah, I'm getting some tweets now. I really do think that Daryl should be killed off. I really do think that if you're a Walking Dead fan, that's only fair. I don't see how it's unfair. I think the Walking Dead should release Daryl like the Atlanta Falcons released Steven Jackson and Harry Douglas. Daryl's a solid character. He's productive. Harry Douglas was productive. Didn't stop the Falcons. Why should it stop the Walking Dead writers? I'm all about fairness. I really am. You do what's fair. That's what I want to see. Hey, by the way, my hometown, for those of you who don't know, I'm from Brunswick, Georgia. That's where I grew up. So one of the high schools, got to send them out a congratulations. The Brunswick High School basketball team out of Brunswick, Georgia, obviously Brunswick High School, Brunswick, Georgia, whatever, made the Final Four. They're playing tonight. I think they got Cedar Shoals at Fort Valley State in Macon is where they're going to be playing. Or right outside of Macon. Good luck, Pirates. Bring home a state title. I'll be rooting for you. They should be rooting for Daryl to be axed off of The Walking Dead. Yeah, I know. This is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. You kill off Beth. That drew in a lot of male viewers. You got to be fair, man. I mean, you got to go. The streets got to go both ways. The streets got to go both ways. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft. Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, the Bucks, the Titans, what they're going to do. I know what they're going to do. Next segment, we'll talk about that. This segment, I'm going to tell you The Walking Dead should kill off Daryl. I'm being persistent. I'm a persistent guy. I'm a persistent guy. I really am. I don't quit very easy. I think anybody that knows me will tell you that. Anybody. Walking Dead, Daryl's got to go. Be fair. Give a little, take a little. All right. We're up against a break. The Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
D1 football coverage. I mean real football coverage. Your answer then is Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com. From high school football to the pros, no one knows more and has better perspective on the teams you care about. Bulldogs, Falcons, Braves, and everything Southern Sports. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. As names you know and trust, guys from here born and raised. Ask your mom and them. They'll tell you. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com is your unmatched source for Southern sports, period. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com.
So I'm trying to find some shorts, some gym shorts, really. And they've got to be that mesh stuff, like the mesh type shorts. Because like the basketball, the long basketball shorts, are really, like they just don't suit my body type. I'm 5'10", I'm kind of stocky. The long, short look, like I wouldn't be a member of the Fab Five. Wouldn't have been my thing. But the cool thing is, so I spent some time in TV several years ago, got an opportunity to work for CNN Sports, transitioned over to CSS Sports. Both of those, of course, are in Atlanta, so obviously I lived and kind of molded around the city of Atlanta. I mean, it wouldn't happen a lot. It really wouldn't. It wouldn't happen a lot, but every once in a while, maybe once a month or so, I'd be out at a restaurant or something like that, be out bowling. And someone I would know, or someone would come up to me and recognize me. I wouldn't know him. That, hey, aren't you that guy who does that show on that sports station? And that was kind of cool. I'm not going to lie, like, hey, yeah, like, it wasn't overboard, just every once in a while. So it's kind of a cool thing to be recognized. You're on TV, people see you, and then they see you in public, and they want to come talk. That's cool. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm from Brunswick. So I'm in Atlanta. Every once in a while, I get somebody to come up to me and recognize me and say, hey, man, aren't you that guy? And, yeah. Doesn't happen in my hometown. Nobody, not even my buddies, nobody ever comes up to me in my hometown, which is where I live now. Nobody ever comes up to me in my hometown and be like, hey, you're that guy that did that. Nope, doesn't happen. They don't have a clue. Just a regular guy, which is fine, whatever. I just think it's funny. When I'm in Atlanta, I get recognized, but in my hometown, nobody really gives two poots. But the other day, I was looking for these basketball shorts, so I went to an athletic store, found the shorts, checking out, made my day. The guy at the counter was just like, hey, aren't you Jason Bishop, that guy that used to be on the CS? Yes, I am. I am him. So for the first time, now I've moved back to my hometown about 5 years ago, somewhere in there. So for the first time in 5 years since I left the TV industry, or at least left those networks, for the first time in 5 years, somebody in my hometown actually recognized me. It's kind of nice. Kind of made my day. So if that guy's listening, Steve at Hibbett Sports, thanks, man. You made my day. Awesome. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Jason Bishop. So when we started talking about doing the show, the producers of the show, the folks that wanted to do it, they wanted to create like a court setting to where, like, I would say, I'd come up with a topic and then basically I would judge it and come up with a guilty or not guilty verdict. The dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. We nixed that really fast. It was just stupid. It was pretty bad. Sometimes you come up with bad ideas. That was one of them. Obviously, we decided to swing away from that. Okay, so we've got the debate. Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston. NFL Combines happened. Both guys threw. Both guys look really good throwing the football. Obviously, Marcus Mariota looked much better athletically because he's a better athlete than Jameis Winston. Winston showed up a little pudgy. Mariota showed up in shape. So this got me thinking. If I had to choose one of those two quarterbacks, I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've got to make a decision. Which quarterback am I going to take? So I started kind of going through what they brought to the table, and I came back to this question. And that question was, which one of these guys do I trust more? Mariota kind of ran a system. Winston actually, there's that whole debate that you're hearing a lot in the national media. Winston actually played quarterback. Both guys played quarterback. They were just asked to do different things in their styles. But which guy do I trust more? The whole Jameis Winston stuff off the field. Mariota never got in trouble off the field. I think if you're Tampa, I think the popular pick is Jameis Winston because he's coming out of Florida State. You're going to draft a guy that was within state. You've got a lot of Florida State fans within the state of Florida, obviously. So you bring him down to Tampa. You're able to sell a lot of tickets. So, I mean, I think from that perspective, it's a good move. But here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Do you trust Jameis Winston more than you would trust Marcus Mariota? And I'm not just talking about on the field and what they can do on the field. I'm talking about off the field. Being the face of your organization, can you honestly tell me that you trust Jameis Winston more than you would trust Marcus Mariota off the field? You can't tell me that. You cannot honestly say that. If Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston were at a club and trouble arose, Jameis Winston's going to be more likely to get in trouble than Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota is probably not even going to be in the club. He's going to be like at home studying the playbook. I think if you're the Bucs, man, I think you got to take Mariota. More gifted athletically, and I think you trust him more. And I think that's the pick you got to make. Which guy do I trust more to be the face of my organization? The answer is Marcus Mariota. And to be honest with you, I'm not really sure either quarterback is going to be a groundbreaking quarterback. I think both have the potential to be really good quarterbacks in the NFL. We'll see. I just don't have like an Andrew Luck or a Peyton Manning feel about these guys. But I still trust Marcus Mariota more than I trust Jameis Winston. That's my pick at number 1 if I'm the Buccaneers. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
D1 football coverage. I mean real football coverage. Your answer then is Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com. From high school football to the pros, no one knows more and has better perspective on the teams you care about. Bulldogs, Falcons, Braves, and everything Southern Sports. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com has names you know and trust. Guys from here, born and raised. Ask your mom now. They'll tell you. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com is your unmatched source for Southern sports, period. The Southern Sports Edition at the SouthernSportsEdition.com.
The Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Jason Bishop. I'm your host. The Bishop's Court is brought to you by the SouthernSportsEdition.com. Southern sports for Southern sports fans, our stomping grounds. All right, I guess Melvin Upton, I guess his tenure in Atlanta as being the starting center fielder anyway, looks like it's gone by the wayside. I think we're done with that. He's going to miss the start of the season. Inflammation in his left foot. He's going to be out for 2 months. He's still got $46 million plus on his contract for the next 3 years. He's going to be out for 2 months. He's not going to have an opportunity to compete in spring training for the job, which I think that's what the Braves wanted him to do. Actually, that is what the Braves wanted him to do. He's been dreadful in Atlanta. Absolutely terrible. Not even close to being good. And he's making a lot of money. Yuri Perez, Eric Young Jr., Zolio Amante, and Todd Cunningham. They're all expected to compete for that starting job now in center field with Melvin Upton. Of course, remember now he's BJ. Or he was BJ. Now he's not BJ. He's Melvin, but he's still BJ. But he's now the artist formerly known as BJ Upton, who is now Melvin Upton. Not going to be your starting center fielder. He's going to be the most expensive pinch runner in the history of Major League Baseball. A $46 million pinch runner. You better steal some bases. I like the Yuri Perez kid. I really do. Fast, good defensively, can play small ball, steal you some bases. He's going to make contact. Young kid. Pretty excited about that guy. Came over from Washington. He's 24 years old. He's been with the Yankees and the Nationals. I think he's going to win the job. I hope so. One thing's for sure, the artist formerly known as BJ Upton is not winning the job. Out for 2 months, inflammation in the left foot. So he's gone. The Titans have said they're passing on a quarterback. They're happy with Zach Mettenberger. So essentially what they're saying is, whoever's left, whoever Tampa decides to pick, Winston or Mariota, they're going to pass. They're going to give Mettenberger a shot. Mettenberger, former LSU quarterback, strong arm, big kid. He's got all the intangibles. I think he could do it. Titans do too. The weather's awful. Rainy, cold, windy too. I'm glad I don't live in a snow climate. There's no way I could deal with that today. I hate snow. I am not a fan of snow. It's not my thing. Never has been, never will be. When I lived in Atlanta, it used to snow every once in a while. I hated it. Wasn't fun there. Oh, let's go outside and build. No, you go outside and build a snowman. You roll around in freezing ice. Got no desire. I'm going to be in here in my blanket, drinking my hot cocoa. If you want to go slide around in some ice, you do that. Used to live in Tennessee too. That was the worst. That was the worst. Snow is on the ground the whole winter. You have to get up early, go outside, turn on your car. Go ahead and turn on your defogger and the heat. So that you wouldn't have to play with the ice scraper for hours. Yeah, ice scraper on your windshield. And these folks are listening to the show in the in the areas where it snows a lot. They're, what's this guy's deal, man? I'm telling you, I hate it. It's a Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network, brought to you by the SouthernSportsEdition.com. Southern Sports for Southern sports fans. Our stomping grounds, the SouthernSportsEdition.com. You've got to put the in front of it. The SouthernSportsEdition.com. Yeah, I hate the weather. Not a fan. Had an opportunity once for a major sports network to work for them. Was pretty interested at one time. They wanted me to move to Connecticut. No, thank you. Deal breaker. Can't I just live in Tampa and work for you from there? They told me no. I don't see why not. Why can I not work from you from a warm climate? I'm serious. That was a deal breaker. And they told me I had to move to Connecticut. You've lost your mind. There's no way. It's just not my thing. I'm not a snow guy. I don't like it. I was raised in a warm weather climate. That's what I'm used to. That's what I like. That's where I'm at, man. That's what's going on with me. Still a ton to get to. We'll get to it on the other side. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
D1 football coverage. I mean real football coverage. Your answer then is Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com. From high school football to the pros, no one knows more and has better perspective on the teams you care about. Bulldogs, Falcons, Braves, and everything Southern Sports. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com has names you know and trust. Guys from here, born and raised. Ask your mom and them. They'll tell you. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com is your unmatched source for Southern sports, period. The Southern Sports Edition at the SouthernSportsEdition.com.
Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Jason Bishop. So Vanderbilt's decided that they're not going to suspend head coach Kevin Stallings after the outburst in the Tennessee postgame. In case you missed it, Vanderbilt and Tennessee play a basketball game. Game's over. Teams are shaking hands. Good game, good game. And Commodores player Wade Baldwin kind of made a snide remark to one of the Tennessee players. Coach Stallings heard it. and he cussed at the player. Told him he was going to kill him. Obviously, he didn't mean he was really going to kill him. University of Vanderbilt says, we're not going to suspend him. We'll handle it internally. You know, my take on this is, anytime that you're a collegiate athlete or professional athlete and you're playing for a coach, sports are emotional. That's the beauty of it. And that stuff's going to happen. If you're a player, you're going to have a coach cuss at you. Even at the high school level, it happens. Believe it or not, yes, it does. If you're a player at a high level, you're going to get cussed at by a coach. Now, granted, all right, he told the kid he was going to kill him. That's over the line. Like, I'm with you there. Like, I'm not arguing that point. But I think we're making much to do about nothing. If you're going to play college basketball, if you're going to play college baseball, if you're going to play college football, you're going to get cussed at by a coach. It's going to happen. And if you're a parent and you don't like that, send your kid into ballet. Send him into drama. I'm just being honest with you. If he's an athlete and you're a parent and you send him to play for a coach, the coach is going to cuss at him. If he doesn't coach, if that particular head coach doesn't cuss at him, one of the assistants is going to. They're going to get cussed at. That's the beauty of sports because it's so emotional. Get off the guy. His player did something stupid, and he disciplined the player. That's his job. That's part of his job. His player did something dumb, and he called his player out. Don't do that. Now you want to jump, like, where we're going with all this political, it scares me, man. It really does. This political correctness stuff, where you can't even now, talk negatively to one of your players without having to apologize or have an investigation done. Where's it going to stop? I was an athlete and I got cussed at. It was just what happened. If I screwed up, if I did something stupid, that's what happened. That was the coach's job. Get off the guy. It's ridiculous. It's just dumb. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network, brought to you by the SouthernSportsEdition.com. Sports for Southern sports fans, our stomping grounds, the SouthernSportsEdition.com. All right, Major League Baseball. We've already heard about them changing the strike zone, taking away the low strike, which I'm in favor of. I think that's a fantastic idea. And now they're talking about some more rule changes to try and speed up the game. Not allowing the batter to step out of the batter's box, timing pitchers between pitches. All that's dumb. Baseball's a long game. So is football. But football is a far more popular game because there's a lot that goes on. There's a ton of action. Baseball, I kid you not. All right, so the average baseball game's 3 hours, 3.5 hours, somewhere in there? All right, maybe a little long. It's at least 2.5, 3 hours. That's the average baseball game, 2.5, 3 hours. 18 minutes. 18 minutes of that 2.5, 3 hours, there's actually stuff going on. 18 minutes in average. An average of 18 minutes every baseball game that lasts 2.5, 3 hours, there's actually stuff going on where people are running the bases. 18 minutes, the whole thing. That's crazy. That's why the popularity has dwindled. We're in a society where everybody wants action, 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 action. Baseball, well, he steps off the mound. He's back in the batter's box. He's going to step off the mound. He's going to take a walk around the mound. He's going to grab the rosin bag. Now he's back on. He gets his sign, and he shakes off the catcher, and he shakes him off again. The batter steps out. That's what baseball is. When baseball was in its heyday in the 90s, because of the steroid era. Why? Offense. Offense, offense, offense. All this stuff about speeding up the game, it's not going to matter. It's not going to change the opinion of the game. If you want to bring people back into baseball, you need to create some offense. You need to infuse offense into the game. I think the eliminating of the low strike zone is the perfect way to do it. I think it's a step in the right direction, but keeping batters from stepping out of the batter's box and pitchers from stepping off the mound. I played baseball in college. Obviously, I wasn't good enough to go pro, but you can't do that. You can't ask batters not to step out. You can't ask pitchers not to step off the mound, because what that is they're thinking things through, and asking them not to do that is ridiculous. Take away the low strike zone. Shrink the strike zone. Take away the corners of the plate. Take away the black of the plate. Take away shifts. Whatever you got to do to increase offense in the game, that's the answer. Asking batters not to step out isn't. Playing a 2-hour game instead of a 2.5-hour game isn't going to make it any better. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
D1 football coverage. I mean real football coverage. Your answer then is Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com. From high school football to the pros, no one knows more and has better perspective on the teams you care about. Bulldogs, Falcons, Braves, and everything Southern Sports. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com has names you know and trust. Guys from here, born and raised. Ask your mom and them. They'll tell you. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com is your unmatched source for Southern sports, period. The Southern Sports Edition at the SouthernSportsEdition.com.
I'm a big racquetball guy. I picked it up about 10 years ago. I've gotten pretty good at it. I like to play. It's tough to find partners, not going to lie. Every once in a while, I'll find a guy that I'll play with for a good year or so. And then either they'll lose interest or they'll move away, whatever. So, oh gosh, I guess about 2 months ago, I was teaching this guy how to play. And so I'm 34, and so when I watch these other guys, these other guys play, typically racquetball is a sport that's played by a lot of older guys. So these old guys are playing, and I'll watch them injure themselves with nobody around them. They'll just fall to the ground, and I'll admit, I will make fun of them. I will. And karma came back and got me a couple months ago. So I was teaching this guy how to play. He hits the ball at the front of the wall, and of course, like the rules of racquetball, if you're not familiar with them, you've got to get the ball under whatever circumstance it takes you to get the ball back to that front wall without it bouncing. You've got to get the ball back to the front wall. That's basically the concept of the game. So I'm teaching him who got to play. He gets the ball back to the wall, and I turn to run after the ball coming off the wall, and bam, I go down in a heap. Felt something pop in my calf. Couldn't get up. He had to help me up. Had to pull my vehicle around. Help me my vehicle. So I go the next day to the doctor. Doctor says, yeah, you tore your calf. So I've been trying to recoup from that. Had to wear this big boot for several weeks. Very inconvenient. Very bulky. It's not, well, just wasn't a good look. So I've been kind of nervous about getting back out on the racquetball court, but I did it yesterday. Got out there. Played some racquetball. Good buddy of mine. He lives in Augusta now. He's got family down in Georgia. Came down. Shot me a text. Hey, you want to go play? Yeah, man, let's go play. Held up pretty good. Thought I was going to be sore, thought I was going to hurt. Didn't. Kind of excited about it. Dan Mullen is excited to be getting an extension from Mississippi State. Their head football coach, who had a fantastic year, gets an extension and a raise from the Bulldogs. He deserves it. He's done a good job with that program. They extended him through 2018. Gave him a raise that's going to pay him about $4.2 million per year. Mullen took them to the first 10-win season ever. Regular season for the Bulldogs. It's warranted. He'll make $4 million this upcoming season, and then he gets the bump to 4.2 through 2018. If he's there that long, I don't think he will be. I think Dan Mullen will eventually move on. He's a good coach. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network, presented by TheSouthernSportsEdition.com. Southern Sports for Southern Sports fans. TheSouthernSportsEdition.com, our stomping grounds. Dan Mullen won the Maxwell Coach of the Year. Of course, he had Dak Prescott. First time ever in the school's history they've been ranked number one, and they weren't ranked number one for a week, folks. They were number one for the majority of the season. Pretty impressive. He deserves a raise. Happy for him. Very happy for him. I'm telling you, Walking Dead, you got to kill off Daryl. It's only fair. I said this earlier in the show. If you missed the opening segment, I'll rehash it for you really fast. For a guy watching The Walking Dead, the best looking woman on The Walking Dead was Beth. Well, they killed her off. So now there's not a lot of eye candy if you're a guy. Obviously, Daryl is the biggest piece of eye candy if you're a woman. So if you're going to kill off Beth, take away the guy's eye candy, you got to kill off Daryl to be fair, don't you? Yes. Yes, you do. It's only fair. He's got to go. Walking Dead, I'm lobbying for it. I mean, I like Daryl's character. I mean, I like the character of Daryl. I like the character of Daryl. I do. But I'm just trying to be fair. Like, I'm one of those guys that I like to be fair across the board. And that's what's fair. If you're going to kill off the best-looking girl, you got to kill off the best-looking guy. I'm just being fair about it. I'm just being fair about it. I realized something the other day. People on their phone in public settings, when they're trying to cash out of a grocery store or we're at a convenience store and they're on their phone, that drives me nuts. Like, you can't get off your phone for a minute to pay for your groceries and check out. You can call whoever you want right back, right? I mean, really, you're going to be in there a total of 3 minutes through the line. Get off your phone. Drives me nuts. I don't get it. You got to kill off Daryl Walking Dead. I'm still on it. I'm being yelled at to move on. Don't bring up Daryl and The Walking Dead again. Because I kept doing the first segment, so they're getting mad at me. All right, we're going to wrap things up. We got one more segment to go. Kentucky basketball. Hunger Games are coming out. Bishop Media Sports Network with the Bishop's Court.
D1 football coverage. I mean real football coverage. Your answer then is Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com. From high school football to the pros, no one knows more and has better perspective on the teams you care about. Bulldogs, Falcons, Braves, and everything Southern Sports. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com has names you know and trust. Guys from here, born and raised. Ask your mom and them. They'll tell you. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com. SouthernSportsEdition.com is your unmatched source for Southern sports, period. The Southern Sports Edition and the SouthernSportsEdition.com.
It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network with Jason Bishop. I'm the Jason Bishop guy. Kentucky's trucking right along. Still undefeated. I've heard some people say, well, if Kentucky played in the ACC, they'd be a 500 team. Are you kidding me? Look, I'll concede to you all day long that if Kentucky played in the ACC, that they would lose a game or two. But a 500 team? I literally heard a very well-respected basketball analyst for the worldwide leader say that the other day. And I just sat there and thought, what is he smoking? Kentucky's solid, man. Are they the best team in the country? I mean, yeah, they're up there. I think they're in the top 5. I really do. I think they're a legitimate contender for a Final Four appearance and a national championship. I think they can win the national championship. So the thought of just the audacity to say, well, if you put Kentucky in the ACC, they'd be a 500 basketball team. You're insane. Like, you shouldn't even be allowed to say stuff like that and keep your job. That's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. Would they lose games? Yeah, of course they would. They might have 3, 4, 5 losses in the ACC. I'm not debating that. It's very likely. The SEC is not as strong as the ACC. We can do this all day. I mean, we know this. The ACC is a gauntlet. Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse, Virginia. The list is just endless. There are a lot of good teams in the ACC. There are a lot of decent teams in the SEC. Kentucky beats up on those decent teams. Not arguing that. But a 500 team in the ACC? Come on. Come on. Turn in your media card. Go do something else because you're not good at this. It's the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network, presented by the SouthernSportsEdition.com. Southern Sports for Southern Sports fans. Our stomping grounds, the SouthernSportsEdition.com. So I'm not a big movie guy. I don't go see movies a lot. Not when they're in the theater. I'm more of a, all right, I'm going to wait for that to come out on DVD, come out on Blu-ray. If it's streaming on Netflix, I'll check that out too. So I don't really go to a lot of movies. Not in the theater. Every once in a while, if there's something that's really big that's coming out that I just want to see, yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll break down, I'll go. But just going to the movie just to see a movie in the theater, yeah, not my thing. So I haven't seen Mockingjay. I haven't seen the next Hunger Games. It comes out. I haven't seen Hunger Games. It comes out on March 6th. Mockingjay. The new Hunger Games. Haven't seen it. I'm excited to watch it on Blu-ray. I'm trying to think of the movies that I've actually gone to recently at the theater. Like all the Transformer movies, I've gone and seen those. I think those are definitely movies you have to go to the theater to see. 100%. What else have I been? I don't know that I've been to see any other movies besides the Transformers movies. Oh, well, no. I was going to say Ninja Turtles, but I just thought, no, I was going to go see it, but I didn't. Of course, like I was a big Ninja Turtle kid, so whatever. All right, anyway, we're done here. Shouting out, getting off the air. You can have your radio back. This has been the Bishop's Court on the Bishop Media Sports Network with me, Jason Bishop.